We're now joined by Jason Bechtel, head coach at Houston Christian. I've known him, I say, he's a high school coach when he was at Scurry Rosser, Gatesville, and other places, and now the head coach at Houston Christian. Jason, thanks for your time. Paul Catalina with me also in studio. I remember reaching out to you, and I asked you, there was players that were at Houston Christian that were going elsewhere because you've recruited really, really good players. How much of a compliment is that? And then at the same time, how frustrating can that be for you?
Well, it's funny because over the last 2 years, we've lost 10 guys to the FBS level who are going on and getting some collective money and NIL money. And so I think that's a great thing for these guys who are moving on and doing that. But it's tough for us. It's tough for roster management, but it's obviously put our university on the map, and we've done some good things. And then obviously we got one in the NFL with our first ever drafted in the NFL with Jalix Hunt, was third round in the 94th overall pick of the 2024 draft. So we got some things going on, but yeah, it's frustrating at times too.
Yeah, you want those things to happen, but then the secret gets out, right, Coach?
That's it.
Hey, this guy's really good. Where's Houston Christian? Well, it's obviously in Houston. Well, we need to go there then and look. And so then everybody starts looking around. Does it, though, like in a weird way, even though you may not keep those guys, have opened up some doors for you that may not have been there? Like, hey, you're getting noticed if you come to Houston Christian.
Yeah, and there's times where we'll have those conversations. It's funny because you've got the Nebraska helmet right behind you. It's a good and a bad deal for FCS programs to go and play some of those FBS guys. Obviously we play Nebraska here coming up this season, and it's good for us to go and expose our guys to those programs. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because we lost a receiver to UTSA this past season where he just had a phenomenal game against those guys in San Antonio. It gives them a chance to go and see who we have and who we've brought in and what we're trying to develop. And it's almost turned us into a 4-year junior college. And that's not always great for college football, but it's great for high school recruits and small level football, university football, because now you're able to get some film and be seen. And guys, I'll tell you, early on, I was not a fan of the NIL. I was not a fan of collectives. But it's funny. I just had the same talk with my dad, who's been in the coaching business for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I just said, I think these guys deserve some of it. To the extent that some of them are getting, maybe not. But I do believe that we're on a track of making sure that our kids are paid for the services they do for our school. And I do think that's a good thing.
I don't know if you heard the story from earlier today that the University of Wisconsin has sued Miami because of tampering, because they allegedly reached out to a player that was under contract, NIL, whatever you want to call it, at Wisconsin. We've heard, Jason, you didn't say that one time. You never said anything about tampering. You just mentioned that some of the players are getting looks and they're going elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But we've had other coaches. We've had Jeff Traylor at UTSA. You mentioned they picked up a wide receiver, but we've had coaches who have had their rosters rated. So sure. Finally somebody is going to actually put this on paper and say, hey, this is going on, let's do something about it?
Yeah, I think that's probably what you're looking at. That's probably the most decisive evidence that they probably have is that may be one of those instances. Obviously, this has been going on with these two schools for a little while now. We've seen that play out in the media. But yes, I know Jeff's always called some guys out, but it's prevalent. And I think this may be one of the best cases of seeing, hey, maybe there's some true evidence where we can stop some. I don't know that we'll ever stop it.
Is it part of it is because you can't, is because you don't really know where exactly it's coming from. A kid just shows up one day and says, I'm leaving, I got this NIL offer, and they kind of go, and you're like, well, if you got into it, you really never, it could be a cousin of a cousin of a friend.
All right. We are building something that will shake the big brand in the industry.
I just couldn't help myself. It tasted so good. It smelled so good.
I drink so much water now.
no one has been able to provide great water and a compelling alternative to single-use bottles. And I became obsessed with solving that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's not coming from coach to player. A lot of it's coming from a friend of a player, or the high school coach of the player, or whatever it is. We hear it all the time. We've got kids in our locker room that will come up to us and say, "Hey, coach, so and so's reached out to us. What do we do?" I said, "That's your decision. I mean, I want you to stay here, but at the same time, we realize that some of these kids may not ever get another opportunity to make the money playing football, and so some of them are chasing that, and some of them are just needing that film to talk." A lot of people won't love hearing me say that as the head football coach at Houston Christian, but I'm a realist, and I speak reality.
Well, you've come from a coaching family, and many stories about your family, and the one with Mark, and many others. It's basically been in your blood from the time you were born. Was it ever not in your blood?
I don't think it was. I think I really knew, being a young kid at Brownwood High School, running around watching those guys play, and then graduated from Wills Point High School. I knew all along I really wanted to coach. I didn't know that I wanted to be a head football coach. Originally, I wanted to be a head baseball coach, and so and obviously the past just take a little different route. But man, I'm having a blast. I'm fortunate to when you start looking at the amount of head football coaches, I'm one of around 134, and that's a privilege and an honor to sit there and look. Man, there's only 100 and so many of us, and I'm one of them. And I'm proud. I'm proud of our family. I'm proud of our family name, and I'm proud to be a Texas high school football coach. And and there's not a whole lot of people can say that right now either. As far as being at the college level, I'm proud to be associated with the guys like Jeff Traylor, G.J. Kinney, all those guys that are doing, Joey McGuire out at Texas Tech. There's some of those guys we're all Texas high school football coaches, and I'm proud to be associated with those guys.
How fun is it to be at the front end of this program, which wasn't, people didn't know about football and Houston Christian, and then the name change and all of that, but to be on the front end of it and be able to really steer the direction of where a new program is going to go?
Yeah, we're about to play our 12th season in the school history, and I'm the third head football coach here, and we still got a lot of growing pains, but we're raising the standard of how we operate and how we do things. We got a great administration who wants to see things change. They want to be a part of a winning program, and so it's fun. It's a lot of work. And anytime you're the head of any department or program, or it's always a daily fist fight, and we know that. But man, we're excited to see where our culture takes us. We talk about being the standard, and how, not just from a football standpoint, but when you leave Houston Christian, what's your standard of life going to be? And that's always fun to look back. I'm actually, it's funny because we talk about this all the time, and going back to relationships. I'm about to step into a wedding. I'm out in West Texas, about to step into a former player's wedding, and that's what it's all about.
Well, we need to let you go here pretty soon, because I know you are up against doing that, but it looks like a beautiful day out there, by the way.
You can see the nice oak trees behind me, wind blowing in my hair, as you can see. So
hey, I mentioned all the high school stuff and the history, and also the Bachtel family, but you became the head coach of where you played football. What was that like to be there, which has now launched you to this opportunity at Houston Christian?
Man, it was absolutely phenomenal. My wife and I will always go back, and I definitely outkick my coverage. And when I say this, is that she's been she's really kept me grounded. And when we came out of Howard Payne as graduates, she and I met Howard Payne, and listed Howard Payne University as a dream job. That was my dream job, and and I had a phenomenal coach. Vance Gibson was my college coach, and I still look up to that guy. And that was a dream job. And when it was offered, at first, I'll be honest with you guys, I turned it down, and my wife, my wife's a praying woman, very, very spiritual. And she said, "Hey, you're going to be the next head football coach at Howard Payne." And I said, "Well, I've already turned it down. That's not how it works." And she said, "I'm just telling you, you're about to be the next head football coach." And then to see what we did in the 2.5 years that we were there, we had the first winning seasons since 04 and 05 in our 21 and 22 season. First time they'd gone back-to-back winning season. First time we had a winning season since 05, and first time winning back-to-back season since 04 and 05. So that was a huge deal, and made me proud, of what we accomplished in the short amount of time.
Jason Bechtel with Houston Christian. You mentioned just over a decade with the program, 5-7 last year. You mentioned you played Nebraska. Matt Rule, who spent time at Baylor, got heavily involved in the Texas High School Coaches Association. I guess the question is, what are the expectations now that you've had a full offseason of what you expect with your team?
Yeah, I think that the verdict's still out, and I'll be honest with you, the key piece is we're going to have to find a quarterback who's going to win the job and play consistently, and not go try to do too much. They just need to manage a football team, and I think that's our biggest question mark right now. We've got some guys that I think are very capable football players and very capable quarterbacks, but the truth of the reality is they haven't been in the firefight yet, and so we've got to get them exposed to some of the fights and the line of fire, and if we can find one that can manage that, I really love this group. They're a fun group to be around. The atmosphere inside of our building is different than I've ever been a part of since I've been here in 2 years. And it reminds me a lot of the guys we turned the program around with at Howard Payne, and just the whole feel of it really feels identical. So,
Jason, if you don't mind, I say that I'm bad about this last question, but I've known you and I've known the Bechtel family. Kent, who was at Midway, that's your uncle, is that
that's
right?
my uncle, yes, sir.
And I mean, the history of your family, what is the pride of the Bechtel coaching tree?
Well, unfortunately, we lost Kent in 2015 and September 2015, and 2 weeks later, my dad was involved in a sideline accident that nearly killed him.
Yep.
And the words that Kent left us with will be words that are forever etched in my mind. And he said, the Bechtels may never win a state championship. He said, but the love of family will always last longer than the wins and losses. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'll take from both Kent and my dad, Mark, is that family matters. Family is important, and over everything. Family is the most important thing that we have other than our relationship with God. But that's what it's all about.
Jason, enjoy the wedding. Thanks for your time, and hopefully you're not missing it, right?
No.
But
hey,
yeah.
I'm not sure I don't want to stay on with you guys and miss it.
No. Coming up next, boy. Hey, man, it's great to see you, Coach. Proud of what you're doing, proud of what you represent, and also it's great to see you, and I'm glad I had a chance to reach out to you a few weeks ago, and glad we got you on the show. Have a great season, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jason Bechtel.